You ready?
Yes.
So this episode of Shift Happens Catalyst Conversation once again is very special because I have another manifestor here who's also initiating people into beautiful shifts and transformation. And if you know that manifestors are only like 9% of the population, it's even more special to find another one. And whenever I find another manifestor, I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. So I'm so happy to have Kendal here to talk about shift and transformation. And yeah, maybe just a few words about yourself. What do you do and who are you? How do you guide people through shift?
So many powerful questions. So grateful to be here. Yeah. So right before this, we're having this beautiful conversation of initiation and just being that catalyst. And it really started planting the seed for me. One, who am I? What a powerful question. Fire and air, right?
Ooh. I love how you respond to this because very often when you ask who are you, they're like, oh yeah, I'm like working as da 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 da, and then it's usually like a job description. But you're coming from a different background and already more tuned in to yourself. So you don't respond like, okay, I'm a coach or something. You respond with, okay, fire and air.
Yeah. My little Gemini brain is like so flowy. But yeah, I think that for me is definitely I push, I initiate, right? I inspire people and then I let them flow. And that is fire and air, right? And I had a coach who used to say, you bring the fire and I'll fan the flame. And she was also a Gemini. Our birthdays were one day apart. And I think of that often when I think of how I work with my client. And it really is just being that fan for people, that Gemini, that air, to spread their fire and invite them to be who they're meant to be, right? To be their most empowered self, their most authentic self. And I think that's who I am in that space, that air, that container to just come as you are, be who you are, learn who you are if you don't know, make a mistake, try on a hat, see if you like it, see if you don't, and keep going until you find what really feels good for you.
They basically allow people to discover who they are. It's kind of like remember who you are. It's already within them, it's already inside them, but somebody has to get it out. Yeah, then you are this person.
Yeah, I love that interpretation.
Were you always like this?
I've been reflecting a lot on this recently, honestly, and I feel no. I think I have always been very strong in who I am, but I grew up with one sister and divorced parents, and it was always very much competition between the two of us. So I don't know that I was taught to inspire other people to shine their light. It was my light was dimmed, especially as a manifestor. I'm sure you can understand this. It's like, you're too much, you're too much, you're too much. So then I just tried to become smaller. And when I would receive backlash or just a negative response to me truly being in that light, it just taught me, be small, be small, be small. And so it's been a remembrance of my own journey. When I see other people taking up space and inspiring me, it always brings me back to that of, wow, I could take up even more space. I could be even more authentic. I could be even more expressed and noticing those fear cycles. But no, I wasn't always that way. Honestly, I think I used to hide a lot. And through that, if someone was fully expressed and they triggered me, I would reject them, or there was some type of contraction, shame, disconnection that occurred.
So how did you shift into that being who is now initiating and catalyzing other people?
So my journey started with, like, how far back do I go? But I would say around 14 years old, 15 was when I started, maybe 13, being super emo and super just in my emotions or in my darkness and my shadows.
Emotional manifestor?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Me too.
Okay, so you get it.
Yeah.
Very in the emotion. And I got caught there for a while in that darkness. And it brought me into a place of alcoholism, eating disorder, body dysmorphia, and just very much wondering, do I belong here? Do I not? And that was quite a dark place for about 3 or 4 years of my life. And I started going to AA. I got sober with my mom, actually. And that for me was the planting of the seed. And something that I learned in AA, which aligns a lot with the spiritual community, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, for anyone that doesn't know, is, right, it's okay, believe in something greater than yourself, right your wrong, admit where you've gone wrong, which is the deepest shadow work you could possibly do. And then you go through the steps, and at the last, you now have this light, and it's your responsibility to share that with people. And I think that's where I really started my seeds to be planted. But I would say it took me on a journey then of being in a sorority, completely losing myself, completely.
That's a very normal reaction to go to American sorority. Oh my God, so I didn't know. But yeah.
But it was, okay, be this way, look this way, wear this thing. And I became that. It was a survival mechanism.
But it's also,
through and through.
it is how we see it in the movies.
Yes.
Okay, so it's actually true.
I have a friend that's obsessed with documentaries on sororities, and she always asks, Kenny, is this true? I'm like, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, that. And it's brutal and it's horrible. The sister wound exists there, but it was also, I have friends that are still my closest friends and my biggest supporters and confidants. So it has the light and the shadow aspect. But from that, I started that path. This is how you fit in. And for a manifestor, that's the worst thing you could possibly do, is follow the path that was set out for you.
And in sorority, you're like supposed to be in a certain way as well to fit in, but we're not meant to fit in. We're meant to stand out. And if you try to stand out, it's like somebody might be triggered and might try to push you away on the throne or something.
Yeah. And so it was very, again, fit in to survive, don't cause waves. And that led into a job that was basically adult sorority from there. And the same module, the same wear this. I remember a meeting for the women. Wear this makeup, wear these clothes, you have to wear high heels, no room for creativity, for authentic expression. And that job I'm so grateful for, because it's what led me to just say, what the fuck is this?
Wow.
You know? And in that moment, I quit the job one morning, like 7 a.m. I went to the pool. I was just like, all right, no more of this. I broke up with my partner at the time, which was, again, in my mind, follow this path, be in a relationship, start the family, have the job, follow the American dream, you know? And I tried, and it made me so miserable and disconnected from myself.
It's very Manifestor way to like, okay, today morning I'm just going to quit my job. We're not going to like think about it for a long time. It's just, okay, oh, I'm doing it, done. And okay, quit my job, broke up with the partner. It's like everything happening at the same time. And I feel that for Manifestors, it's like super normal to do it.
Yeah.
That way, it's like, okay, whatever.
And that catalyst, it's just like, no more, drop the bomb. And I did.
And everyone else is like, what just happened? Everything was fine.
Yes.
You were like so happy and harmonious and successful and dream life. Like, why did you like leave? What's wrong with you? This has happened to me. I walked away from a marriage. I'm like, everybody was like, but you were like so happy. You never argued and fought. And that was actually the problem, not fighting.
Yes.
So
conflict is just the key to the resolution of that, right? To deeper connection. Yeah. Yeah, but I was living on my friend's living room floor, had a mattress on the floor.
Wow.
And that was like, all right, this is my life now. But I started learning about meditation. The first time I ever meditated and actually connected to my body, realized peace is available to you. And there's a world within you, right? There's not just a world around you. Blew my mind. And I still remember exactly where I was in the moment, who I was with, the meditation, and I listened to that meditation every day for 2 years, because it just blew my mind that that was possible.
So even like following somebody else's voice in a meditation, that was fitting for you. Because, very often manifestors are like, I want to do things my own way. But I guess we also choose some people to be in our lives, like coaches and mentors or whatever. There's always our decision, okay, I want you to guide me.
Yeah.
But if the other person is just trying to sell the service to us, we're like, no. But if you chose, okay,
Yeah.
I can trust you. I can be guided by you, for example.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way from a manifestor perspective because I'm very avoidant, or I was in my attachment style. And so I don't trust that easily, right? And so every coach I've worked with, I have watched them for a while before I say, yes, you are who I want to work with. And I'm like, okay, sell to me emotionally, mentally, logically. I need to see the transformation. I need to see that you are a walking embodiment of that. And then I decide, yes, that is who I want. But it makes sense for a manifestor.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be guided. So I have to fully trust who is that person that I'm going to let into our field, right? And we have the closed aura also. So it's like, who gets to enter? We get to
Kind of
fully
like
decide
we open the
that.
castle again a little bit, they get in, and then we close it again. Now they're like inside the castle with us.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, you live here now.
That's live here now. Or until you're kicked out. Yes. Because at some point you can be like, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm using people, but sometimes I'm like, some people are like, super friends with me for many, many years. Then sometimes I'm like, I don't know, just moving on to the next ones. And it just happens. And also I've had different hobbies, different sports. So when I was running long distances for 10 years, I had certain kind of friends who were also running. Then I was into bikini fitness, bodybuilding, new set of friends. Then I was more into like consciousness, new set of friends. And I don't talk to the ones that I had in the previous stage. It's not that I don't like them. It's just I'm doing other stuff now.
Right. You're shifting.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's funny for me, the people that have been around for the whole ride, and I'm still friends with someone I dated when I was extremely emo. And he just cracks up whenever we talk, and he's like, from there to there to there to there to there to there. But giving ourselves that space to be who we need to be in that moment to learn also. And I was the same way. I didn't do bikini, but I was super into lifting and just bodybuilding and nutrition even. And that's still a big part of my path. But I started to fit myself into that box. Like it was always, which box can I survive and hide in, you know? And that's been a big part of being super emo, being super sorority, being super sporty, being super corporate. And then when I moved to Barcelona and everyone is just themselves and you can't really label anyone, I had an identity crisis.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't pretend to be anything else to survive. I have to actually find out what are my real interests if no one else is impressioning me, if no one else is inviting me, because I knew no one when I moved here. Like, what do I like and what do I want?
Why did you even want to come here? You didn't know anybody. Was it just like this manifested urge? I need to go there right now, immediately.
Pretty much. I had been planning with the guy that I was dating in San Diego. We were living together and we were planning we're going to live in Europe. We'll backpack Europe. And then when we broke up, something in me said, do not sign a lease. And so I was in San Diego going from room to room and just moving every month. I got invited to come on a trip to Europe and it was free flights, free tickets to a music festival, free hotel. And my friend called me. She said, you're heartbroken, you're depressed, you can't say no. Pack your bag, we're going on the flight. Great friend. We came to Barcelona after and we both said, we're moving here. And yeah, and I just made it happen. I just called my mom and said, I don't know why, but I'm supposed to learn Spanish. I'd had a vision that I was doing my work in Spanish. And so I knew this is where it's meant to happen.
Wow. It's like no doubt, no questioning and discussing. Just, okay, I'm going now. This is happening too. Because I guess we don't, because we had this ego-fisted energy, we don't have so much energy to just go about it and discuss and weigh the options. You're like, okay, I want this and I'm going now.
Yes.
So it's when you decide to decide very fast.
And we just inform, you know?
I'm going. I'm not asking for permission. I'm not discussing. I'm going. Yeah.
And I remember that conversation with my dad that I'm quitting my job in 2 months. I've already saved. I paid for this school yesterday. Do you have any question?
Involving.
Now that I know that strategy, it makes so much sense because it was not, what do you think? Do you have advice? They just said, this is what's happening.
So did he have any question?
He was a bit concerned, Definitely. I'm the baby of the family also. So I think moving from Florida to San Diego, creating that distance first was okay. My parents got to get used to me not being around, but then going over an ocean to a different continent, to a different country was a new level of what are you doing? And you're quitting your job. And my business at the time was just this side thing. I had a couple of clients here and there in coaching, but it wasn't really anything. And I just said, this is what I'm meant to do. I have money for a year that I've been saving. And so if I come back in a year broke, at least I'll have learned a lot of lessons and I'll have more clarity. But this is what I'm meant to do. And I think my parents know now there's no stopping me when I put my mind to stuff.
Okay. So for Americans, Europe is like this dream destination, or how do you see it anyway? How do you talk about it in America? Is it like you have to go to Europe and travel around at least once in a lifetime, backpacking or whatever? Is it that kind of place to go?
I would say when we do think of it, it's definitely a far away destination. And it is like how cool you went to Italy, how cool you were in Barcelona. Whereas when you're from Europe, those are just like moving states. Oh, I moved to New York. Oh, I moved to San Diego or to Wisconsin even. For us, it is, you're in a completely other culture, country, continent, everything. And so Americans get a bad rap, but we do live far away. We are isolated. So yeah, it's not as accessible to us, but Europe definitely is. I don't know. I had honestly only been to Europe once before I moved here. I came to Barcelona. That was my first time in Europe. And then I just decided, yes, I'm meant to be here. And in that, it didn't really process for me how big of a change I was going to be making. And it's still, it feels cool, definitely. But I'm also like, anyone can do that. You know, if you find that power within yourself, if you want to make a big shift, if you want to move across the world, if you have a dream to learn a different language, to run your business in that, you can do it. And I think just having that self-belief, I still don't, I pat myself on the back, but I also am like, anyone can do this. And that's my firm belief. And it doesn't need to be this big, hard, scary.
And we can both be the catalyst if somebody needs to be activated and initiated. I moved here, of course, I'm moving back in less than a week now. But I'm like, okay, I made a decision like 1 year ago that I want to move here. Then I made it happen. And now I'm just making it happen and moving back to Estonia. For me, it's like, okay, I'm just doing it. And other people are like, how are you doing it? It's like, oh my God, I admire you. You're doing so big. I don't know. I just decided and I'm going. And it feels so normal to have this, go, just decide and to go.
Yeah. Just being that boss, like just deciding the CEO of your life, like, this is happening. And there's something in that. I'm like, maybe I take that for granted that we do have that power as manifestors, just decide and make big change.
Yeah, we don't need to respond. We just, I now have this urge. I'm going. Bye.
Yeah. But now that I think of it, 2 women that I know have moved here also. And I remember them reaching out. How did you do it? What were the visas? What were the conversations? Hopping on a call with them, voice noting, and now they're here. And so being that initiator and being like, it's not that hard, actually, if you want to do it. If it's a true desire, you can. And showing that way. And so I think where I'm at now, to answer the long-winded way of coming back to the original question, being the transformation in your life, it's now, I feel that my embodiment can be a catalyst for transformation for people, of just saying, informing, this is what I'm going to do, doing it, and people wondering, how did that happen? You know? And then that is the secret sauce of like, okay, I've decided I'm just going to be truly myself. And now I'm unapologetically online, showing up, being me. And I'm going to teach other people how to do that. I've decided I'm no longer going to be disassociated. And now I'm going to learn how to connect to my body and teach other people how to do that. I've decided I'm no longer settling for fuckboys or men that don't see my worth and treat me like shit. And I manifested my king 2 months later. And so it's just deciding and then being like, that permission slip for other people, you can do it too.
I'm also noticing that very often people, they watch us, they get inspired, and we don't really hear about it. They don't reach out and they don't tell us. And sometimes I even feel like discouraged sharing all that stuff. But when somebody's like, okay, you inspire me to do this, that, and another thing, I'm like, oh, I actually didn't know. Yeah. So for us, good to have some kind of feedback. But then we also know that, okay, actually all the stuff that we are doing that might seem crazy, we need to share. We need to be out there and inspire. Have you also noticed that people don't tell you that you inspire them, or are they actually like starting to reach out now?
I would say more often than not, people don't share. And definitely as manifestors, I think the initiators, that happens often. But I think even for anyone listening and watching, like knowing you're always inspiring someone, and most people won't tell you. And most people might not even know that you are inspiring them, but they see it's possible and you become an expander for them. And you just, through being yourself, you're giving other people permission and the authority to say, yeah, I can do that too. But most times that's in our subconscious, and it's like, oh, this person posted that. And I saw other people responded to it. And not to say that you're then copying it, but then you're like, wow, I can now show this side of me that maybe I was hiding. Right. And I think that's a really big thing now, even with the internet, and why I love social media in that aspect is just seeing other people being fully expressed in ways that might be so rare and different. And it's like, well, I never thought to share my love of aliens or, like talking about being from another planet or whatever that may be, and just being that permission slip as well. And then it's in just the little heart that you receive on a story or the heart eyes or something like that, that you're like, okay, people are vibing with this too, and letting that be the motivator, but also knowing whether that's coming or not, that you are making that difference, And sometimes, I'm like, yes, receiving the love. And other times I'm like, is this landing? But knowing, yes,
it has. Yeah, it is landing. So we also have to like trust, especially as manifestors, that people, they kind of see inside our closed aura if we invite them in. Because otherwise it's just a wall between us and them and they don't see what is happening. But if we inform about what the hell we are doing, can also get inspired. Yeah, so maybe it's helping somebody. So sometimes, like people who are super strangers for me, they just reach out at a very random point. Oh yeah, you inspire me to do this and that. I'm like, really? Nice, okay. And this also encourages me to share more.
Yeah. And I think that's the power of storytelling also, right? As I've just gotten to dip my toes into business coaching. And when I first started creating the content modules, it was like looking at what my coaches have taught me. Those are great and having formats are amazing. But the reason people work with me is because they know me and they know my personal transformation. And that then is like living proof and living embodiment for them that the work works, right? And I think that's where just sharing, like you were sharing today, right? Your running photo, your lifting photo, your modeling photo, and at different weights. And that challenges so many different things of fitting into different boxes, of as women posting, even talking about our weight and sharing it and sharing the journey. And that embodiment is just like, and that connection that I saw it. And I was like, I remember when I was obsessed with running and being super skinny. And now I also have gained like 10 kilos and I feel amazing in my body, and other people might not share that. So just being that point of like, this is my story, right? And whether it inspires you consciously or subconsciously, it will plant a little seed for you to start looking at these different aspects of
Yeah,
life.
I felt like sharing this today. So that's why I was talking about my weight and kind of also getting back on this journey of dropping a little bit of it and shedding a little bit of body fat just to get the muscles out more because I've gained a lot after my last competition. But also before that, I thought that, okay, being over 70 kilos, this is a disaster. I was always like 63, 64. I also got to 59 when I was competing like 1 month before competition. I was super skinny. Now I look at the photos, I'm like, oh my God, was I really like this?
Yeah.
And now that I'm over 70, it's like, oh, actually, it's not so awful. But we don't know before we actually get into this point. And yes, it's just like a number in some ways.
It is. Yeah. And it's how do you feel? Are you healthy, right? Do you feel comfortable and confident in your body also? And I think in that, society puts these numbers on things and metrics, right? On the picture perfect life, the picture perfect body. And that's where the dark side of social media is. Oh, I don't look like that. My hair doesn't look like that. My body doesn't look like that. My vacation doesn't look like that. I took a picture of my acai bowl and it's ugly and the lighting's wrong, and it's like, just fucking eat the acai bowl, put the bikini on, jump in the water, feel the skin, the sun on your skin. But we, can then start to compare and think that this number is bad, where it's like, not necessarily.
What does it consist of? Because I was also 10 years ago, I got above 70 and then I looked completely different. It was just fat. Now it's also a lot of muscle mass. And I'm lifting the heaviest weights I've ever lifted in my whole life. So I just hip thrusted 200 kilos a few weeks ago. I was like, okay, I'm actually super strong. So it's not just the fat or whatever. It's also strength that is coming up with a higher number. So yeah, I want to have a little bit less body weight, a little bit less fat, but I'm also kind of accepting that, okay, I'm okay here, but yeah, we can do better now.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh my God, I'm so ugly, I hate myself. It's like, okay, it's okay, but I can do better. Yeah, I can just, optimize ways.
And I think in a way, this relates to manifestation in every part of a life. We can have these goals, but then we have to learn to be happy and grateful with where we are right now, right? And so it's like, okay, I do want to lean out, and that's okay, but I still love my body exactly as I am right now. And I still know that I look good, right? And I'm worthy and I'm beautiful and I'm sexy and I'm strong, and knowing that. And it's that polarity of like, we're always going to want to shift, and then you might lose the kilos and then be like, oh, actually, I want to gain. Oh, no, I want to do this. Now I want to do that, right? Because it's human nature that we always want to evolve. We're always changing. So then we gather new information, we reach the goal, and then we're like, oh, maybe this isn't exactly what I wanted. And so letting ourselves be never fully satisfied in the sense of, okay, I want more, but also being fully satisfied, like letting your cup be full and everything else is extra, adding on to that.
Yeah, now we're coming to that body topic, and we just had a small chat before, and you also mentioned that the real transformation for you actually began when you started embody this more, and it was going on the body level, not just the mind. Maybe tell me a little bit more about this embodiment, and being in the body, and how this is a deeper transformation.
Yeah. So what I was sharing with you earlier is I started a lot in subconscious mind coaching, hypnotherapy. And that for me was looking at limiting beliefs and being able to shift them, which was amazing and deep and transformational. But I'd never learned how to integrate that into the body. So after this relationship that I was in San Diego, that was when I started to dive deeply into attachment style and realize I'm quite disorganized and I'm codependent. And so disorganized is a mix between anxious attached and avoidant attached. And so it's sometimes I'm anxious, sometimes I'm avoidant. I can't really trust myself. I can't really trust you. And what does that do to your nervous system, right? Because attachment style is just a dysregulated nervous system, a non-secure attachment style. And this is when the body work came in. And the first time I connected into my body, my therapist used to say, it's like opening the hood of a car and seeing what's underneath. And I still hear his voice every time I connect to my body. And I still cry almost every single time I lift the hood, because it gave permission to connect to the sensations of the body and drop out of the mind, which most people may think they're living that way. But I'd say 90% of people are actually disconnected from their body,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you're wearing clothes right now, do you actually feel those clothes on your body? When you eat, do you actually fully feel the fork in your hand? Do you feel the food on your tongue, right? And those are external sensations. Where it went even deeper for me is once you start to look at when something happens to me, do I feel open or do I feel contraction, right? When my partner leaves dishes in the sink and it creates anger within me, well, I will leave that where it is. But yes, you can do a quick mental reframe, but are you actually paying attention to the contraction that's happening in your body and giving your body space to process that? And most people, no, right? And that's a very small example. But if you think of your entire life, of every time you've been afraid, judged, felt shame, felt anger, felt fear, and you didn't let the body process that, that energy is stored in your nervous system. And this is why most people live on autopilot, right? Is that energy gets to become so much that the nervous system says no more and it goes into this freeze. And that's why functional freeze is now such a topic, because most people are living in functional freeze. And that looks like being able to do what you need to do to survive, go to work, maybe cook your meals, but you might not even have energy for that. Texting back feels like a mission that is absolutely impossible. Building deep connections, no. Surface level conversations, great. Doom scrolling, Netflix binging, just being inside alone or so busy that you don't actually even have time to connect, right? And I say these not to shame, because these are patterns of my own and that's why I can name them so easily. But once I created this space to slow down and to really look at what's happening within me, process my breakup, not from I'm not good enough thought perspective, but from a felt experience of what does it actually feel like in your body to tell yourself I'm not good enough. And that for me was a pit in the stomach that I'd been carrying for almost my entire life. And to truly let my body feel that and process that and release it, then created space in my nervous system for vitality to come in. And this is where now when I kiss my current partner, I feel it and I feel the openness in my heart, right? I feel the expansion. I feel the aliveness. When I hug a friend, when I receive an invitation, it's like my body can actually respond because it has the capacity to do so.
So you cleanse of the old stuff and now there's this space for all the good stuff to come in.
Exactly. And it's a constant process, right? Okay, once you clean it, cleanse your nervous system, once you make space, excellent. But what are you doing now when you get angry, when you get afraid, when you feel shame, when you feel judgment? Because as much shadow work as we do, you're never going to eliminate those feelings. They're normal, they're natural, they're human. But what do you do with them? Do you keep shoving them down, or do you learn now my body is actually a portal that can help me attract what I desire, that can help me enjoy my life to the absolute fullest, right? Because for me, being embodied is like actually feeling it from a felt sense. I'm in this moment, we're sitting here, and this feels so good. Like my body feels grounded, my heart feels open, I feel alive, I feel tingling in my toes and in my hand. You know, that is a different experience than I'm here and I'm doing this thing from a mental space and I might not process it or even allow my body to truly be a part of the experience.
So what are the actual methods to get to this cleansed state? What do you use? You mentioned shadow work.
Yeah.
But how does it actually look like?
It's a little different for everyone, I will say, but somatic experiencing is the biggest thing.
Through the body.
Yes. And I combine it with my experience now of hypnotherapy and subconscious mind coaching. And so I will take my clients back to moments and memories that were either, we never go straight into deep trauma, right? Because you need to titrate. In between titration is small bits and then pendulating between the good and the bad. Because if you go right into something dense, that also is taxing on the nervous system, and then you're just re-traumatizing your system. But we revisit experiences from their path where they've felt these different emotions, where they felt shame, guilt, fear, anger, sadness. And then we learn, what does that feel like in the body? And we create a safe space for their body to actually feel it, right? So see that memory, go back to it, and now drop into your body. What's happening? And most people are like, they've never done that, right? And now, oh, wow, my heart is completely closed. Okay, let's sit with that, right? And so the more we start this conversation between the mind and the body, we create now this mind-body connection, and we create the story that it's okay for them to communicate. And it's through that experiencing and sitting with that in a space, right, that you're safe to be held, you're guided, and there's someone there to support you, because these can be heavy things, heavy topics. Then you start to create space. And now it's with this openness, what do you want to create now? What do you want to put in that open space that's now in your system, in your aura, and in your nervous system?
So you're like there for the person in this process. Are they also doing something on their own? Do they have like homework?
Yes, soul work is what I call it. Because the most important thing with the nervous system is you can get to the root cause of something. You can, create space within it. Amazing. But the old neural pathways are still there, firing and wiring. And so we need to strengthen the new neural pathway. And so that's where affirmations, EFT tapping, mirror work, journaling, just reminding yourselves of these new beliefs and then ingraining that into the body is so important. And that's the repetitive integrative action. But the reason affirmations might not work is if you haven't created space for new neural pathways to be created, then you're just adding more stress to the nervous system. So it's do the deep work, do the clearing, and now create the new neural pathway, and now go down this way, this new thought belief for yourself. And that's the soul work. That's amazing. I've guided you where you need to go. And now go fly and remind yourself every day what a badass you are.
You have been the catalyst, so now please go away with your stuff. Because as we also discussed before, we don't really like to maybe work with people for too long time because we get bored. Sorry people, but we kind of get bored. We just always want to initiate. We want to start new things for us, for others. And if you're just repeating the same program, always saying the same things, it's like, no, I just better record everything and go and watch my videos. Yes. And then come back with your insights maybe.
Yeah. And then being able to upgrade it from there. Yeah. And so I think in that also, like each client can be a new journey. But for me, if it's the same repetitive, I take you through these 12 steps.
Well, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah. I'm sounding like Megan.
But it's my 12-step program.
Yeah. But it is, it can be a snooze fest after that.
But you're always also looking into new ways how to guide people, how to take them through their processes, like just to have more fun yourself as well.
Yeah, always learning. And I think that's the beauty for me as an entrepreneur, right? We don't have managers. And I always had really amazing managers. They were great mentors for me. So now I see coaching as like you were just paying someone to be your manager, right? It's someone who is in a space above where you want to be and not from a hierarchy, but they have something you don't have yet. They have more knowledge on whatever you want to gain. And they're able to share that knowledge with you so that you can then level up to the next degree, get promoted in life, right? When I think of that, that's how I look at the coaches in my life also, is like they're teaching me to learn something new. And now I have more new information to share with my clients, new shift to transform for them. So I think if I wasn't also doing the work, that's where I would get really, really bored, because then it's just taking through what I already know without expanding my knowledge base or what I'm able to offer my clients.
So you're always learning. What are you learning now, for example?
Yes, so I'm really diving into human design right now.
This is an exciting topic.
Yeah. And this, I mean, I'm dipping my toes in, so I can't even riff on it that much, honestly, but it's just so interesting, the unique way that every single person on earth is created. And through that, I think that because my mission is authentic expression, it's like peace on earth through authentic expression, everyone having the safety to be who they are. Human design has helped me understand who am I.
It makes so much sense. I'm like, finally.
Yes. And then metabolize it mentally and then feel it through the body, you know? And I think that for me is now like, wow, subconscious mind work, body work, human design.
Well, yeah, for me, human design, it's also explaining why I sometimes just feel this disgust. It's not personal. It's not about the person or the event that I'm at, but I'm like, oh, I just need to leave immediately. And it's this very visceral feeling of disgust. And I just need to just remove myself and go away and be with myself. Have you experienced something like this?
I call it contraction, but yes. Disgust, definitely. I'm like thinking of eating. I love Brussels sprouts now, but as you were saying that, that's what I was like, when you eat something, you're just like, this needs to get out of my mouth in this moment. But it brings clarity. Like, why do I not resonate with this thing? And not that we always need a reason for why something doesn't land, but I think it just helps with self-acceptance. Well, it actually makes logical sense why that thing doesn't land for you.
Yeah, and also sometimes when it's like event, I can enjoy this 1 hour, 2 hours, and then suddenly it's very sudden. It's like, oh, I need to go now, immediately. I was just enjoying myself 1 minute ago, but now I'm done. And when I talk to other manifestors, they say the same. They just have this, oh, okay, done, leaving, no more. And other people are like, but it's so fun, and you started the party, and why are you leaving now? I'm like, I don't know.
Yep. The energy has been hit.
Yeah, because it's like we have this very short burst, kind of like a rocket going push. Then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
time to rest too.
No more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think diving into that and learning that about myself is where I'm right now learning, okay, I've always been a workhorse. I'm always, okay, 9 to 5 even with like short, and working for myself now and working on things that really do light me up. It's like I will find the energy, but then the next day I feel hungover.
Oh, yeah.
And that's energetically, that is a sign from your body. You pushed yourself too hard. So now I'm really learning, okay, what is the sign? What are the cues from my body that I'm reaching that limit, that the burst is over? It's like a rocket ship that then runs out of gas. And if you're still in space, like, you're not going to be able to breathe. What are you going to do?
Yeah, it also happens to me. I can just go very fast and then suddenly, no more. It's like, well, I can't force myself. And then the other people are like, just be consistent, keep doing small things. I'm like, no, I don't, even when it comes to learning, like some self-development courses, I would rather just binge through the course in the beginning. And then it's like, okay, then I need a break. Not like, every day, little by little. No.
Now that you're saying that, I'm in the course right now, and as soon as I get the email that new stuff has been released, I binge as much as I can, right? And then I'm like, I know this isn't going to last.
Yeah.
Just go. And the coach is always cracking up. Like, and we did the Gretchen Rubin personality test also.
Yeah.
And I'm an upholder.
Me too.
Okay. This makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And so she just cracked up, like, everyone needs an upholder in their lives, because I get the homework and I'm like, I need to do it right now. I have the spark
And it's done. Yeah. I know. The Gretchen Rubin had this upholder who's like very good at doing the obligations for themselves and also for others. Questioner is just, asking why do I need to do that? Then we had the people pleaser, I guess.
the obliger,
And what was the fourth?
the rebel.
Rebel, yeah. Who doesn't want to do anything for themselves, for others? No. Yeah, upholder is very diligent, always doing this stuff for themselves, for others. If it's just a task, I'm doing it. done. And yeah, I also resonate with this, that when I get some kind of task, I usually want to do it as soon as possible, because I'm like, okay, now I have this energy, just do it, and then it's done, and I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. And there's something in that energy of owing. I don't like anyone to be waiting on me, because it's high expectations of self, but then high expectations from others is the upholder energy. And so in that, this person has this expectation. It can be people pleasing if you don't check yourself, right? Internally, does this align with what I want also? And if it doesn't, then you're causing that burnout and that friction.
Yeah.
And so that's been for me, like, receiving something in this false sense of urgency of like, it has to happen right now. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. You're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's also, I guess we also have a little bit of this fear that the energy will run out, because it will. And so this might also be one place where to be very careful, because otherwise we can also end up with a burnout.
Yes.
Like, it's going to run out, so I'm not just going to do everything right now. And then maybe some other people start to expect, oh, you had so much energy and you just finished all these things. Can you do it again tomorrow?
No. I don't know the next time I'll be able to do it.
Yeah, it's so unpredictable as well. And as you also mentioned, this energetic hangover. For example, if I'm at event, I talk to many people, even if I really enjoy that, and it's like very long day. The next day I can be like, I don't want to see anybody, because it's kind of like energetic hangover, and also maybe, a lot of sacred beings around you. Everybody's like buzzing and everybody's just talking so much. And the next day I'm like, I don't drink, so I don't have a normal hangover, but I get this energetic. It's like, no.
Yeah. You're just in bed. I resonate with that a lot. And I'm dating a manifesting generator. And so he's seen, right? And we don't speak human design, but he knows. He's like, you're like a cat. One moment you're loving, and then if I touch you in the wrong place, or if you just reach your limit, then you need to retreat. And
I would say manifestors and cats, they're quite similar. This independent energy, and also you never know what's the mood.
never.
Never.
No. And then pair that, we both have the Aries, and I ended up me with the Gemini. I'm like,
many different faces.
I always say it's a surprise to us all.
Yeah, if you treat it as a surprise, that's also like a playful way how to handle this. So it's kind of easier. You were also talking about attachment theories before, and you also had some program around it.
Yes. Attachment theory has become near and dear to my heart, especially through my partnership right now, because I'd never dated a secure partner.
Oh, this sounds so nice.
And so for anyone listening who is wondering, what is attachment theory? It is how we attach to the world around us based on the love and the affection that we received as children. So it starts with your caretakers. This may be your parent or whoever was taking care of you. And then it goes into adulthood. And so it's heavily related to the subconscious mind and the nervous system. And I think that's why I geek out on it. In that, there are 4 types of attachment style. There's avoidant, which is being afraid of intimacy. You trust yourself highly, but you don't trust other people. Then there is anxious, which is not trusting yourself, but highly trusting other people. So you attach really easily people on an anxious level. You may depend on them. There may be some codependency there. Disorganized is usually if you have more complex childhood trauma or a traumatic event happened. And this is, you don't trust other people, but you also don't trust yourself. And this can be very challenging. And then there is secure, where you trust yourself and you trust other people. And the way this shows up then in the nervous system and in relationships is secure people are always in that balanced state, more or less, right? If they go into sympathetic or if they go into shutdown, they're able to bring themselves back into, okay, I am relaxed. Anxious is more sympathetic than not, fight or flight. Avoidant is more freeze, dorsal vagal shutdown, shame, depression. And disorganized is more between sympathetic and that dorsal vagal shutdown. So if you think of those 3 states of the nervous system and the 4 attachment styles, which I'm giving a lot of information right now, but I think people will be able to follow what's true for them. you have to then follow what I was describing before of creating space within the nervous system to process the feelings that are associated with each state. And as you do that, coupled with looking at the limiting beliefs and the stories that you have around love and around yourself, you can shift and you start to create a transformation within yourself that then starts to exude into the world around you. And so that is very much my program, Letting Love In. And this program is about expanding your nervous system's capacity for love. And the basis of all of that, because this is very scientific, but is self-love. Because whether you receive no attention or too much attention, you might create the story, I'm too much or I'm not enough. If you had a traumatic event, if you had abuse within your life, or even if your parents had dysregulated nervous system, you can have complex childhood trauma just from growing up with caretakers who didn't have regulated nervous system. That to me blew my mind because I grew up with loving parents. I grew up with a roof over my head, food on the table, clothes, education, friends. Why do I still feel like I'm not enough? I just had two beautiful parents with two beautiful dysregulated nervous systems. And from that, your nervous system creates new belief. And having a dysregulated nervous system can actually cause you to create limiting belief. And that's why for me, the body work is the most important thing. And attachment theory and somatics are married very, very much. And Peter Levine uses stick work. That is being able to basically bring our bodies into a close enough region where my regulated nervous system can be a space for your dysregulated nervous system to explore what's happening. And that is why somatics is so powerful with a guide, because there's someone there to co-regulate with you that you probably didn't have as a child. And so you're able to basically teach your child nervous system that it is safe and bring it to a mature adult level through deep healing, and then attract love because you feel safe enough to let people in. You feel worthy enough and you feel empowered enough to choose a good partner.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I've been always more on this anxious side. It's kind of like always like anxious, especially in the beginning of relationships. Does he really like me or not? But also when I'm in a good relationship, I go more on this secure side. I guess secure is the thing that we all should be in, but it's also the most rare in some ways. Because very often people have some kind of things happening from the past and everything.
Yeah, and we all do. And I think that's where it's like, we can't shame ourselves. And even my secure partner, when we first started dating, I was very avoidant. He vocalized to me, the things you're doing are making me feel insecure, you know? And so if you're with a partner, even if you're secure, you're with someone who's very anxious or very avoidant, they can trigger you to feel anxious or avoidant as well. And that's why romantic partners have the deepest effect, because they're the closest to us. But if you think of even every person in your life, the different way that you interact with every single one of them. And with some, it may be more anxious, with some more avoidant, with some more secure. But I remember my couples therapist said to me for my last relationship that was just detrimental to my nervous system and the beliefs I created about myself. But he said to me, you will be happy in a secure relationship and you have the ability to be in a secure relationship, but you have to heal the part of yourself that thinks that they deserve the partners that you're attracting right now. And that to me, I didn't understand at the moment. And that took me down the rabbit hole once I moved to Barcelona. But now that I have befriended and healed the part of myself that feels that she's not worthy of love, that's what's been transformational for me, for setting boundaries with my partner, for making time for myself, for being true to what I need and communicating that, and to also letting him in. Because when we first met, I was like, boyfriend? No, I don't like labels. You know, you want to go on a trip? Nope, too much. Oh, you want to sleep over 2 nights in a row? Nope, too much. and it wasn't him being needy. It was me being afraid of intimacy. And the more I peeled back the layers of who I am and just got to really know myself and created safety within my nervous system to even see my own self and then my guide to see me, it was like a portal. And now I felt safe. Well, this person who's guiding me still shows up every week. They still love me. They haven't abandoned me, right? So other people can now start to see those deeper layers. So it always starts with us. And then from there, it blooms into everything else around us.
So first you went through this yourself, and now you're like teaching other people through the experience, being the catalyst, being the initiator. You go first, and then other people can follow.
Yeah.
In way.
Yeah. And I think the thing that blew my mind the most is your attachment style isn't just with relationships. So if you think of how you attach to food, to money, to social media, to friends, to work, to self-worth, to even happiness, do you allow yourself to feel happy? Do you have an anxious attachment to I always have to be happy? Or do you avoid and have a fear of being happy because you don't trust it's going to stay? So you can start to see like it's not just love, it actually affects everything in our life. And that to me was like, wow.
Wow. So this is a really big transformation if somebody works on their attachment styles and gets more into this secure space.
Yes.
That's one way to elevate your life. And then you also have this thing called Awaken Phoenix. So I was like, oh, Phoenix, he sounds very cool.
Yeah.
They're coming back from the ashes and just going into the world as a new mystical being.
Yes. So that is a women's circle that I'm hosting this Saturday. And that is bringing in the Aries energy, the Aries sun with the Libra full moon. And this is, yes, for women. For me, what I'm leading in that, because I'm co-facilitating, is an anger release, which is very Aries solar plexus energy. If you're not seen, then there can be anger there that needs to be released. And this is, again, a big somatic exercise that will dive into to then rise as the phoenix, to release whatever's stuck in your nervous system and be reborn. So during a drumming ceremony, a rebirth, and then coming back as that feminine embodiment for a woman. And embodiment, just in the body, coming back and feeling what it actually feels like to have space, vitality, and aliveness in your body.
Wow. It all comes back to the body once again.
Yeah.
Because, I guess the body cannot lie. You can lie in your words and that kind of stuff, but, on the body, from the posture, body language, you'll always find out the truth.
Yes. And the more we can learn to trust our body and actually trust them, because at first I feel contraction, right? When I first started dating my partner, I felt contraction more often than I felt openness because there was fear. So I had to really decipher and sit with, is this fear or is this my truth that there is contraction, right? And then when I felt the openness, I was like, well, that's when I'm my true authentic self. And he really just creates space and a loving environment for me to be that. The more I had these conversations with my body of what's a yes, what's a no, what's a trigger and what's a glimmer, and then I started processing them and releasing them, that's where it was like, now my body is the compass and the portal. And so I always call the body portal, because it really is just this portal to aliveness. And that's my one-on-one work, Come Alive, because it's truly life being your waking, living dream, and not just from the mind or the ego, like, yeah, I created this thing. It's like when I sip my tea in the morning and the foam goes in my mouth and I feel the spices of the chai on my tongue, and then the warmth drip down when I put my lotion on. Like, it doesn't need to be because I'm living on a yacht doing this thing, right? It's just the felt experience and the aliveness of the present moment. That is richness to me. That is aliveness.
Becoming alive. But that's something else that you teach.
Yes. And that is subconscious mind work mixed with somatics and energy work.
So I like mixing everything together and making your own practice out of all the things that you have studied and experienced on yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're each here to do in our own way, is share our story. For me, that's led into coaching and healing, because that's something that has always, always, always interested me. But I also have clients who use this work to activate their creativity, who are artists, who are models, who are using this to take what is their gift and their genius and just feel alive and more abundant and more happy in the success that they're creating.
So where can people find you? They're like, I really want to work with Kendal.
I am on Instagram. I'd say that's, my biggest platform right now. And then from there, you can get on my email list if you like more long form content. But right now, Instagram, Sunshine Activation is my Instagram. That's my brand. Activate the light with F.
Yeah,
That's
amazing.
me.
I mean, put into the description and people can just go and click and follow me. Learn more.
Amazing. Thank you. This has
Amazing.
been so, so great. And honored.